Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my palettes revisited for October. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. For those people who might be new here and that don't know what this channel is all about, I love getting the use out of my makeup. So I go back to older things regularly, which I show you for things that aren't eyeshadow palettes in my Shop My Stashes. And once a month, I select a couple of older palettes from my makeup collection that I want to use again. And I like to typically do like 1 or 2 looks with each one, just to sort of fill up the gap that is left at the end of the month when I'm done trying new things. And I sort of use that to go back to favorites or back to palettes that I'm unsure of. Do I want to keep these? And this round, I had a couple of really good fall selections that I wanted to go back to. So let me chat to you about the 5 palettes I selected for October and show you the looks that I did. So if you've been here before, you know that this year in 2024, I fell back in love with warm-toned eyeshadows. And when I did my palette ranking again in August, I ranked all of my eyeshadow palettes by their color families last August. So in case you want to go back, I'll leave some of those videos linked down below because I did a warm tone ranking and a neutral ranking and a colorful ranking. I did all the rankings. And this one came out on top yet again in the warm tone ranking. What am I talking about in case you don't know? This is by Nabla. It is the Analogue Cutie palette. This was number 7, and it is just one of the best warm toned eyeshadow palettes that has ever been made. As far as I know, this is still available, so any links in the description box that I can find, I will put down below. Those shopping links will be affiliated though, so I could make a small commission if you choose to shop through them. Just know that that could be the case if you choose to shop through those links. And this one is gorgeous. One of the reasons why I like it so much is because these shades don't pull orange on me. A lot of warm tone palettes that have been hyped up in the past just looked really, really orange for the most part. And while I don't mind a bit of orange, orange is like one of the least flattering colors on my complexion. It just doesn't go. It's too much of a clash. So orange, if there is a shade I avoid, it's orange. Like anything orange. I have a couple of things in my wardrobe, but not too much. And if I wear it, I will very often pair it with colors that do complement my skin tone. And then I sort of use it as a pop of color. But orange toned eyeshadow, it's just never been my favorite. And that's where this one comes in, because objectively, if you look at this in the pen, you might think that's going to look orange. But both of these, for instance, have a reddish quality to it that really shows up for some reason on my complexion. I think it's a cooler undertone in my skin that makes those shades pull a bit more pinky red rather than yellowy orange. So it definitely sort of highlights that. And that's also what I get from that shade in the middle. This is one of the best warmer toned shimmers in my entire collection. It is a gold peachy duochrome, but because of the peach, it has a hint of pink to it. So when I apply it to my lids, I feel I get more of the pink than I do the orange of the peachiness that it has. So for me, that works really well. It has some gorgeous, absolutely stunning, deeper tone browns that pull to more towards like the coffee, dark chocolatey kind of brown. So they seem to have a slightly cooler undertone. And they pull almost more reddish tone brown rather than something that again has a lot of orange running through it. The gold is my least favorite shade in the palette, but as far as golds go, this is a good one for me. I can use this in the inner corner, no problems. That's the only thing I would really use it for, because there are far more interesting shades already in this palette that I don't feel I need to put this all over my lid. But you could go for something super basic and everyday if you just stick to these 2 shades in the palette. So it's only 6 pans, but it's incredibly versatile. I always do the same look where I use all 6 shades with that shimmer all over the lid. Like, it's what I do every single time I use it, but I go back to this all the time because it is my favorite warm tone palette, and I felt it was criminal of me if I didn't put this into 2024's palette revisited videos, because it's such a good one, and I ranked it as one of my top favorite warm toned eyeshadow palettes yet again this year. So I was like, I have to make it happen and feature this one. So very happy with this, and I was yet again very happy with the look that came out. This is one that is one for the makeup memory box at some point if this ever gets discontinued, if I want to stop using it or if it goes bad. because this one is my tried and true. And then a palette that I really wanted to go back to because it gave me fall vibes, even though this was released over the summertime, and I purchased it over the summertime last year, and I hadn't really gone back to it since. I'm talking about the Sydney Grace Heaven on Earth palette. This is the light version indeed, because Sydney Grace palettes come in a light and a deep version, in case you've never tried them. And Sydney Grace, we all know, it is one of my favorite brands when it comes to single eyeshadow. Their palettes, I love the quality of them, but the color stories aren't always my favorites, so that's why I definitely wanted to go back to some of them in this roundup as well, because I was like, you know what? I think I like this. So what I did when I first reviewed this, I used every single row. So I did a blue look, I did a green look, and I did a warmer tone neutral look. Stunning, but I knew the power of this palette would probably come from me combining some of those color families that it has inside it. So what I ended up doing for this look is that I sort of used this side of the palette, and if you take out these like very vibrant blues, you can just see you have all the murky, cocky kind of colors that I think are perfect for fall. I believe khaki and burgundy are like the two colors that are the colors of fall 2024. I don't have a lot of khaki in my wardrobe because, again, it's not the best color on me. I tend to wear it as bottoms more so than tops, but as eyeshadow, I love a good khaki. I love a good khaki shade on my eyes. So I went in with, I think, all three of these, and then I accentuated it with these really nice deep dark navies that it has, and it was the grungy green look of my dreams that I wanted to wear this fall. So I really love this. As I mentioned, I love Sydney Grace's eyeshadow formula. They do really, really good mattes, really, really good shimmers. The only downside to this, if you were looking into them, is that their shimmers aren't like super shifty or super high shine metallic. It's all like this satiny quality shimmer, but that's why they're really, really good for people with more mature lids, you could say. So if you are someone who struggles with, for instance, in the eyeshadows creasing or if things get too glittery, things fall down your face, then definitely check out Sydney Grace because their shimmer quality is still very impactful, but it doesn't crease nor does it look weird and make you look like a disco ball throughout the day. So really rate them very highly for their quality. I love the look I did with this. I think it's now going to be my go-to look with this eyeshadow palette, and the packaging is gorgeous. Look at Mr. Turtle over here. I just think it's really, really good. So Sydney Grace's Heaven on Earth, now that I've tried something different for myself, it is now a palette that really has captured my imagination. I was like, I need to do that look again sometime because it was a good one. And then the palette of the season, because of course, I think the day this video goes live is October 31st, so today's Halloween, if I'm not mistaken. I don't celebrate Halloween, so I don't know these things. But Nomad's Haunted Europe came back this year. So I was like, I have to whip it out and use it again. And I put it in my favorite Halloween palettes for 2024. I think if you're looking for a good Halloween themed palette, that Nomad is the brand to look into because they're not super expensive, and while their eyeshadows are pigmented, they are not overly pigmented and they're still very easy to work with and very blendable indeed. I love the cover of this because we have the lady and then we have the skeleton. So there is a little bit of a shift there. I keep my boxes for a lot of my Nomad palettes because the box always adds to the experience I feel with them. So unless like boxes are just like the same as the cover of the palette, I never keep them. But if it's like this, then I do like to keep them. Here is what the color story looks like. I hope this is still available by the time I'm showing you this. They brought it back, but it was only limited quantities. So I don't know if they still do this. And Nomad does ship from Ireland now, I believe. So if you're in the EU, it no longer is going to cost you an arm and a leg to import these, like when I bought mine, because I got mine from the States. So one of the best parts about this palette is that we get pumpkin patch fall and we get coffin vibes. I said it in my Halloween video. I'm going to stick to it. And the look I did was with the coffin vibes, because if I get gorgeous muted dusty purples and like mauvey tones and these like heathery purples, that's what I want. So that's what I went with. I ended up putting this in the crease, I believe, and then I think I put this all over the lid. I don't remember where everything exactly went. This navy was great as a liner. I do remember using that. It was a stunning look yet again, and I cannot repeat myself enough, but Nomad has some of the best, easy to work with formula of any indie brand I've ever tried. With a lot of indie brands, I always feel there is a bit of a learning curve with a lot of them to get the looks that you want. But with Nomad, you don't have to blend for days. The shimmers will stick. They're not going to go everywhere. It's just such an easy, foolproof eyeshadow formula, and I love my Haunted Europe, and I'm so glad I still have it. And of course, for the fall time, I have to go back to one of my favorite fall palettes, which is the Subculture. I think this comes back every October or November, like not even when I was doing this series, like when I started doing this video series, I think I've made it a staple in like the fall season, but already before that, because I've had this for a while, of course, because it is an older palette, and this gives you all the mattes that you could possibly want to go with multi-chromes. So that's what I did. I ended up doing a look where I think I used some of the green tones, maybe this in the crease if I'm not mistaken. I always somehow work that teal in there somehow. I think I used Rowdy as a bit of eyeliner this time round. So I always go into this side of the palette and use a lot of the mattes. That's what I use this palette for. And then I complement the look with my Clionadh multi-chromes. So these are the stained glass multi-chromes from Clionadh. If you're looking for good multi-chromes, I would go with Clionadh because they're the best. I've tried so many multi-chromes from so many brands by now, and these are still my picks. And as you can see, there's still some space left. So at some point in the future, I will be filling up the rest of this palette. I'm in no hurry because I'm currently not really reaching for a lot of my singles palettes, so I feel it would be a waste of money to get, I think I can fit 13 more in there. I tried to like figure out how many would fit. And I do have a bit of a wish list on the Clionadh website. The only issue is Clionadh is based in Canada, so it can get really expensive with the shipping and handling fees. So I need to be able to make a purchase for like all of those shades in one go. So that means I need to make sure I have like room in my budget. Plus they need to do some sort of sale and have a massive restock for that to be feasible, and they only do that like once or twice a year, usually for Black Friday and over the summertime. So maybe next summer, because I don't see myself making that purchase for Black Friday this year. Maybe sometime next year. That's probably when I'll do that. And I ended up using some of my favorite shades. I always gravitate towards the same shades in this palette, but I put Forge all over the lid because I wanted something with that warmth in it to go with the warmth of that yellow tone that I ended up using. And then I used Cobblestone, which is this one right here. So these are all of the neutral multi-chromes. So that's one of the things I love about the Clionadh multi-chromes is that they do the jewel tones, they do like vibrant ones, they do glittery ones, they do neutral ones, and they do all of these whites with a flip, which make it so fun to play with because the lighter these get, the more forgiving they are if you blend them with other shadows. These ones, I feel I need to use all over the lid to be able to see the shifts. But these guys over on this end, you don't have to worry about. So I use Glisten, which is this third one right here, which has a bit of a pinky flip as well. That's what I use in the inner corner, and these have a transparent base, and you just get that little shift of color every single time you turn your face. Those lighter shades are really good topped over pastels as well. That's one of my favorite ways to use this palette in the springtime. So this has been incredibly great as an investment piece for me to add that little bit of interest. And this is why I don't need multi-chromes in every single palette, because I built my own with all of the shades that I like to wear in terms of multi-chromes. And then I just have a palette like this, and they're a match made in heaven. So I did that one thing that I tell everybody I love my Subculture for, which is setting up the look with mattes and then adding some multi-chromes. And it has proven to me yet again that it works. It just works. And that brings me to the final palette, which is on my eyes today, in case you're wondering what it is that I'm wearing on my eyes. It's the Blend Bunny Surge. So the Surge palette was sadly discontinued because they could no longer stock these pigments from their manufacturer, so that's why the palette is no longer around. However, this kind of setup from Blend Bunny is something they have been doing for a while. So I think any palette that has similar-ish shades from this brand is going to see you through. I think that new Robert Welch palette that they have released is very, very stunning. It's not the same, but I think you can like do a similar look with it. The thing with this one is that it's great at having grungy, colorful shades. And that's why this is more unique in my personal collection, you could say. I don't love a full-on rainbow eyeshadow palette. It's just not something I get a lot of use out of. But this has grungy, murky shades, especially in these two rows. But then it also has pops of brightness with the full row of neons, some brighter pops here. You get a full row of pastels, and you get a row of shimmers. Now, the issue that I have with Blend Bunny isn't to do with the formula. I think their formula is really, really good. And they're incredibly fun palettes to play with. Let me preface by saying that. But I do never get, like, the way these rows are made up. Like, every single palette I've tried, there's always a couple of shades that feel off to me. And in this one, it's especially evident to me in the shimmer department. Because whereas these are really murky and have a lot of gray to them, the shimmers, especially here, like this is super warm, and then these are super vibrant. So if these had a grungier undertone, like the mattes that it sort of sits against, I think I would have liked it better. I popped this shimmering green all over my lid, and while pretty, I think it just has a little bit of vibrancy. If it had more brown or gray running through it, I think I would have liked it better. So if this row was a bit more muted, it would have been more perfect for me, but I still like playing with this. What else did I do? I ended up using this green in the crease, and I used the neon. I'm not sure if you can see it from that distance, but I used it to sort of draw a line in my inner corner. I sometimes do that with shimmers, and I was like, I'll do it with a matte this time. I think it would have been more effective if I had laid down a little bit of concealer or maybe something like a white base, like NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk. If I had first drawn the line in with that and then covered it with the eyeshadow, it probably would have popped more. That's the only downside. But I didn't think ahead. I was just doing the look as I was doing it. And I was putting it on. I was like, that doesn't look as vibrant as I'd like it to look. And I was like, I already have the rest of my makeup done. I don't want to sit down and like remove it and like redo it. But I know that could have been an easy fix because I do have that product lying about. So yeah, having a white base with that neon would have made it stand out perhaps a little bit more. But I do enjoy this. I think it's fun to play with, as I mentioned. But I don't feel I need every single Blend Bunny palette because they all do a similar thing to me. And I always have some sort of comment on them for like a shimmer being off, or like some of the mattes having too big of a jump from the darker shade to the medium shade, and then it's already very vibrant on me. So I feel it doesn't always quite work, but they do some lovely things, and especially if you're looking for a good colorful palette, I think they are one of the best ones on the market. So if you like what you see here from Blend Bunny, then that's definitely something you can have a look at. And both Blend Bunny and Sydney Grace are actually available through MONOLITH. So they are two brands that I like to get nowadays through the EU retailer that ships a lot of stocks a lot of US-based indie brands and like other brands that are difficult to get if you're in the EU. And I have a code with them in case you're curious in using that. So thanks so very much for joining me here today. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. I will be back with a new video very, very soon. It's already November. There's only 2 more months in the year left. Oh no. I don't know yet exactly what I want to do for November. As you'll see, I have quite a few new in bits, and part of me wants to aim for trying them all in November. And November is a short month. So maybe by the time I've tried all of those palettes, I probably will have run out of month. So I'm not sure yet, but I think I have a couple of palettes listed as things I would like to go back to. So I'm gonna have to do some brainstorming before I film my next Shop My Stash, which should go up sometime next week. And then you will see and hear my thoughts on which palettes I will be selecting next. Of course, if you have any requests for palettes that you would like to see me use, if you know that those are in my collection, then by all means, let me know. I can definitely see if I can roll that into and make that part of the schedule. And then I really hope you have a great day. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more by me. I make 4 videos a week over on this channel, once a week over on the second channel, and I blog daily. So stay tuned for more, because you can catch me somewhere every single day. And then I hope to see you in my next one. Bye-bye.